Let me tell you this first. Choosing to cut off contact with a narcissist is never an easy decision. It requires a quiet kind of courage, a strength you may not even realize you've been cultivating through all those months or years of hurt and emotional exhaustion. And if you're watching or listening to this video, it means you're already on the path of rediscovering yourself, or you're standing at the threshold of a decision that not everyone has the strength to make. But here's a truth many people don't understand. Just because you have decided to let them go doesn't mean they will let go of you, because the moment you fall silent is exactly when the movements behind the scenes begin. A narcissist never leaves peacefully. They watch every space you create. They analyze every beat of your silence. And they wait for an opening. Their disappearance isn't respect. And it certainly isn't growth. It's a strategic retreat, a calculated step back, in a plan they never stop running in the background. And today, we're going to lift that veil together. In this video, we're going to dive into 7 hidden things a narcissist quietly wants from you when you cut off contact. Not the obvious tactics you've already seen, but the deeper desires, the subtle calculations they hope you'll fall into while you're trying to heal. Because to them, your silence is never a period. It is the beginning of an entirely new game, one that is quieter, more refined, and far more dangerous. And from that very moment, we step into the first truth you need to understand deeply if you don't want to fall back into their familiar trap. The first thing, they want a reaction. Any reaction. The moment you choose silence, what feels to you like an ending becomes a challenge in the mind of a narcissist. Your silence isn't interpreted as distance. It's perceived as defiance, as if you suddenly snatched the steering wheel from their hands, and that shakes them. Because in their inner world, tension, whether positive or negative, is their emotional oxygen. When you stop responding, when you withdraw the emotional signals they once took for granted, it feels to them like you've cut off their main supply. And so, they begin trying to provoke you, not with dramatic gestures, but with small, calculated moves. Viewing your stories, but not messaging. Posting vague, targeted updates designed to poke at old memories. Or having mutual acquaintances accidentally bring them up. Every action is a hook cast into the water, waiting for you to bite. To a narcissist, even a simple like a brief comment or a subtle, emotionally charged post is proof that they still have influence over you. And the truth is, they don't need you to return to them. They only need to know that they can still stir something inside you: anger, sadness, confusion, anything. Because in their logic, your emotional response is the cord that keeps them tied to your world. That's why the more silent you remain, the more unsettled they become. And the moment you react even slightly, they take it as confirmation that the door is still open. Even the smallest crack is enough for them to believe they can walk back in whenever they wish. Understanding this is your first advantage in breaking free from their cycle. And from this point on, we step into an even more delicate truth, one that often goes unnoticed until you've already been pulled too far in. The second thing, if they can't pull you back, they still want to live in your mind. A narcissist doesn't manipulate only through words or direct actions. They manipulate through the memories and emotions you still carry. They know your emotional weak points, your fears, your patterns, the way you process pain, because they've studied you closely throughout the relationship. And when they realize they can't provoke you anymore, they shift to a quieter form of control, keeping you mentally attached. For them, your silence isn't what matters. What matters is that your mind still circles around the questions they left unanswered. Why did they change so fast? Well, 5s. In the lock-in, what did I do wrong? It's red night. Have they really moved on? They know you crave clarity, and they weaponize that longing to keep you emotionally tethered. They may not reach out, but they remain present in ways that shake you, posting overly cheerful photos, flaunting a new relationship, letting ambiguous stories spread through mutual friends. Every action is designed to trigger an emotional ripple to see whether your heart still reacts. And even if you show nothing outwardly, the moment you feel that internal sting when they appear on your screen, that's enough for them. Anger, disappointment, jealousy, hurt, these are all forms of energy, and in their mind, any emotional charge means they still hold power. This is why they leave things unfinished. Promises without closure, statements without explanation, endings without finality. Your brain hates ambiguity, and they exploit it. When you go searching for meaning, replaying conversations, or trying to complete the story, you unknowingly walk back into the emotional maze they built. That lingering obsession becomes the supply they gather from afar, without ever needing to send a message, yet still keeping you firmly within their orbit. And once you begin to regain your distance, another subtle layer of their control quietly reveals itself. The third thing, they want guilt, self-blame, and the feeling that you're the one at fault. When you cut off contact, a narcissist will never turn inward and examine their own behavior. Instead, they immediately shift to redirecting the emotional spotlight back onto you, making you question whether you were too harsh, too cold, or too quick to walk away. To them, your silence isn't a boundary, it's an opening to twist reality and weaponize your empathy. They know you're someone who cares deeply, someone who reflects, someone who feels responsible, and that makes you vulnerable to the emotional trap they set. They often craft half-true narratives or vague, sorrowful statements to friends or on social media, painting themselves as the wounded one. Lines like, "I don't know why they changed," or "I tried everything but they shut me out," are calculated to make you look like the heartless one without ever directly accusing you. The most manipulative part is their timing. They might accidentally let you hear they're going through something terrible: loneliness, heartbreak, illness, personal loss, birthdays, anniversaries, or emotionally sensitive periods become strategic opportunities to stir guilt within you. They don't reach out, but they make sure the information finds its way to you just clearly enough for you to wonder, if I stay silent, am I a bad person? It is a name and to a narcissist, your guilt is a side door. It may not be the main entrance, but once it opens even slightly, they can slip through and regain control. They don't need apologies or redemption, they need you to doubt yourself, because once you believe you're the problem, you will willingly make amends, even if you never wronged them in the first place. And that is precisely the moment they walk back in effortlessly, confidently, as if they never left at all. The more clearly you see their game of guilt, the easier it is to recognize an even deeper layer of control. The fourth thing, they want your obsession and an emotional prison inside you. One of the most insidious tactics a narcissist uses is leaving without ever truly ending the story for you. They rarely give you a clear goodbye, a genuine apology, or a clean conclusion. Instead, everything fades out in a fog of ambiguity. They suddenly go silent, turn cold, walk away, or abruptly discard you without explanation, then behave as if nothing more needs to be said. They understand a powerful psychological truth. The human mind hates unfinished stories. When you don't get answers, you start searching. When there's no closure, you try to create it yourself. Before disappearing, they often sprinkle breadcrumbs of hope along the way, talking about a future together, hinting at growth, promising change, apologizing just enough to keep you holding on, and then they vanish. No real follow-up, no honest conversation, no accountability. The mix of vague hope and sudden absence creates a massive gap inside your mind. You start replaying every moment, every look, every last message, desperately trying to decode what was real and what was performance. You ask yourself, did I misunderstand? Vokes laid be. Were they ever sincere? Well, was any of it the truth? While you're lost in that maze of questions, they continue to linger through subtle signals. A quote about being betrayed, a video about surviving toxic people, a carefully curated photo about healing, posted at just the right time. Each time you stumble across one of these, the entire story reactivates in your mind, pulling you back into a loop of memories and unresolved emotions. That is the obsession they're aiming for. The relationship may have ended in the physical world, but inside, you are still living with it. To them, as long as you're not at peace, as long as you can't put a full stop to the story in your own mind, the cord is still intact. They don't need to show up at your door, because they've already built a version of themselves that lives in your thoughts, your memories, and your sleepless nights. And once your inner world becomes a prison for all those unfinished feelings, they no longer have to do much. Their greatest power is secured. The power to occupy the very space within you that should have been reserved for your own healing and self-worth. And once they've trapped you in emotional fixation, they move on to a belief almost every narcissist carries deeply. The fifth thing, Gol. They believe you will come back, and they wait to confirm it. In a narcissist's mind, no contact isn't an ending. It's a pause, a temporary interruption in a story where they still see themselves as the main character. They do not truly believe you can leave their emotional orbit forever, because in their worldview, you have already been conditioned to respond to the cycle they built. The highs of affection, the lows of devaluation, the chaos, and then the sudden tenderness designed to confuse you. Over time, your nervous system learns to crave the very instability they create. So when you fall silent, they don't chase, they wait. They trust that you will eventually soften, that your anger will fade, that the pain will dull, and that the sweet moments magnified by distance will begin to look more beautiful than they actually were. They rely on your memory to blur the wounds, but polish the tenderness. In their mind, you will return because that's what you've been trained to do. Meanwhile, they tell others that you're too emotional, that you'll calm down soon, or that you're just overreacting. All of it reinforces their belief that your return is inevitable, and when they see that you haven't reached out, they begin testing the waters. A casual checking in, a song from your shared past, an old photo, or a gentle message that seems harmless on the surface. Every gesture is a probe, carefully calculated to see if the cord is still intact. And if you respond at all, even with a polite, distant reply, they interpret it as proof. You still belong to them. Their confidence doesn't come from love, but from entitlement, the belief that they own a part of you no one else can reach. If they sense you're getting stronger, distancing yourself, or breaking their pattern, they become even more subtle, resurfacing memories, expressing performative concern, or presenting a seemingly improved version of themselves. But all of it is a crafted illusion meant to pull you back into the cycle, because their goal was never to rebuild something healthy. What they truly want is to reclaim their throne inside your mind, the place where your emotions revolve around them, where your needs are secondary, and where they can re-enter your life whenever they choose. And once that sense of entitlement grows strong enough, they shift into an even more dangerous need, The sixth thing, they want control of the narrative, and they want your reputation in their hands. A narcissist doesn't stop at controlling your emotions. They also want to control how the world sees you, when they no longer have direct access to your life. Their next target is the narrative, the story about what happened, why things ended, and who is to blame, and they always make sure to speak first. They know outsiders only see the surface. No one witnessed the manipulation behind closed doors, the subtle cruelty, or the emotional exhaustion you endured. So they move quickly. They begin sprinkling seemingly innocent comments like, "I don't know why they changed," or "I tried to talk, but they blocked me." These lines sound gentle, wounded, and immediately sway people toward their side. Then they take their performance online. Suddenly, there are quotes about betrayal, cryptic posts about healing from toxicity, or videos hinting that they were the one hurt. Strangers, and even acquaintances, unaware of the truth, naturally assume they are the victim. Meanwhile, you, the real one suffering, are forced to watch your story being rewritten right in front of you. This creates a double-layered wound. The pain from the relationship itself, and the pain of seeing your identity distorted, misrepresented, or quietly attacked. And that is exactly what they want. They want you to question yourself. They want you to wonder, was I really too harsh? Ate well? Was I the problem? In quote, even worse, they prepare counterattacks ahead of time. If you dare to speak the truth, they'll dismiss it as exaggeration, claim you misunderstood, or accuse you of trying to ruin their image. They position themselves as the innocent one, and you as the aggressor. Their goal is straightforward: silence you, because once they control the narrative, they control how people see you, how you see yourself, and how much support you can receive. It allows them to protect their fragile ego, punish you for leaving, and trap you in isolation, a place where doubt, confusion, and loneliness become the very tools they use to maintain power. And once they've secured control of the narrative, another hidden desire emerges just as subtle, just as consuming. The seventh thing, they still want to drain your energy, even from a distance. A narcissist never accepts the idea that you can be fully free from their influence. When they lose the ability to touch your daily life directly, they don't give up. They simply change their method. They are emotional energy thieves, feeding on the chaos, exhaustion, and inner turmoil they planted in you long before the relationship ended. Without face-to-face drama, they begin drawing energy from your memories, your unresolved wounds, the psychological bruises they left behind. They know a single reminder can pull you back. Seeing their name somewhere, catching a photo of them with someone new, stumbling across a cryptic post, or hearing from a mutual friend that they're hurting, changing, or becoming better. Every fragment of information serves as a hook. If it makes your stomach tighten for even 1 second, that emotional jolt becomes fuel for them. Sometimes, they even manufacture scenarios, showing up at places you used to go, reaching out to your family under the guise of concern, or subtly interacting with your social media, just enough to let you know they're still lingering. They don't need to speak to you directly. They just need your mind to start racing again. Why are they here now? Or do they mean something by this? And quote, Android. To them, any emotion you feel, anger, longing, guilt, anxiety, fear, sadness is energy. They don't need you to return to the relationship. They just need you unable to breathe freely without their shadow crossing your mind. Every moment of heaviness, every memory that steals your sleep, every time you wonder, What if they've changed? All of it becomes emotional fuel they siphon from afar. And if someday you break no contact just to get closure, check if they're okay. Or say one last thing. That is the moment they plug themselves right back into your energy source. But even if you never reach out, the mere fact that you still think about them is enough for them to feel victorious. Because a narcissist's ultimate goal isn't to make you love them again, it's to ensure you never feel completely at peace without them. And when you finally see how desperately they cling to the last strings of control, something inside you softens, not toward them, but toward yourself. You begin to understand that everything they wanted, your reaction, your guilt, your confusion, your longing, your story, your emotional energy, all comes down to one core desire: control over your inner world. These 7 hidden wishes are not love. They are not regret. They are carefully crafted strategies wrapped in silence, timed appearances, and manufactured vulnerability. They want to know you still think of them, still hesitate because of them, still ache in places they once touched. They want to believe that with one tug, your heart will tremble the way it used to. But woven through all of this is a truth that belongs only to you. Every time you refuse to react, you reclaim a piece of yourself. Each day you don't reply, each moment you don't check their profile, each time their name crosses your mind and your heart stays steady. That is you walking out of the invisible cage they built around your spirit. No contact is not simply distance. No contact is choosing to live without letting them dictate your thoughts, your sleep, your self-worth. It is peeling off the layers of guilt, the layers of longing, the layers of hope they planted in you. It is standing tall and reminding yourself, my value is not defined by the person who hurt me. And one day quietly, softly, you will realize that you can hear their name without trembling, revisit the past without drowning, and look forward without fear. That day is not the day you defeat them. It is the day you come home to yourself, and that is real freedom. The kind that doesn't need to be announced. The kind that simply lives in your chest, whispering, at last, you no longer belong to them,